All right, let's go back to 2010. Oracle, one of the biggest software giants on the planet, makes a move that has everyone in tech just scratching their heads. They bought Sun Microsystems. And on the surface, this deal made absolutely zero sense.
I mean, this was the question on everybody's lips. Why on earth would you buy a dying server company? Look, Sun Microsystems, they were once a titan, a real Silicon Valley legend. But by then, they were clearly on the downside. Their market share was evaporating, their tech felt old. So why would a pure software company like Oracle throw billions at what really looks like a sinking ship? And we're not talking about a small bet here. This was a $7.4 billion deal. Think about that. A number that big isn't just a simple purchase. It's a massive, bold statement about your strategy. And that price tag? That's exactly why the industry was completely stunned and the critics got so wowed.
Okay, so let's put ourselves in the shoes of the critics back then. Let's look at this deal from their perspective. For them, this wasn't just some risky bet. It looked like a straight-up colossal mistake.
And you can see the total disconnect right here, can't ya? On one side, you've got how the market saw Sun, a company that was bleeding market share, its technology fading. Then on the other side, you've got Oracle throwing down this massive, multi-billion-dollar bet that just left everyone baffled. Of course the critics scoffed. When you look at it this way, it's pretty easy to see why they thought Oracle was crazy.
But this is where the whole story pivots. See, the critics were looking at a failing company. But Larry Ellison, Oracle's CEO at the time, he saw something completely different. He saw a treasure chest. The real reason for the deal was something the market had totally, completely missed. And it all comes down to this one quote. This changes everything. When people asked Ellison about the deal, he didn't give some long speech about reviving Sun's server business. Nope. He just said, "We're buying the whole stack." Just 6 words. And with that, he laid out a strategy that was so much bigger than just hardware. So, what in the world did he mean by the stack? Well, the stack is really all about a powerful concept called vertical integration. It's a strategy where you don't just, make one piece of the puzzle, you own the entire board. We're talking from the silicon chips at the very bottom all the way up to the software that the user touches at the very top. You control every single layer. So for Oracle, here's what that stack actually looked like. When they bought Sun, they didn't just get a server brand name. No. They got Sun Spark processors. You can think of these as the custom-built brains inside the servers. They got the really advanced ZFS storage technology, which is just a super reliable way to handle enormous amounts of data. And they got the operating system too. Now they could take all of that and combine it with their own world-class Oracle database. All of a sudden, boom. They owned every single critical piece, from the bottom to the top. But look, owning the stack wasn't just some abstract business school idea. It was all about building something totally new. And this is where we see the birth of the engineered system. A new category, really, with a product that would become Oracle's hardware flagship, Exadata. And this was the whole point. This was the end game. When you control every single component, from the chip all the way up to the database, you can tune them to work together in perfect harmony. The goal was simple, and it was brilliant. Build a machine that was engineered from the ground up, for one purpose, to make the Oracle database run faster than it ever could on hardware from competitors like HP or Dell. So just step back and think about the total impact here. First off, Oracle now controlled Java. I mean, that's a massive prize all by itself. Then they had the core hardware ingredients, the Spark processors, the ZFS storage, and all of this allowed them to create these engineered systems, like Exadata. In one move, they transformed themselves from just a software company into a full-stack powerhouse. A powerhouse that could deliver performance that its rivals, they just couldn't match. No way. And this brings us to the big reveal, right? The final reframing of the whole story. What looked to the outside worlds like a crazy, baffling purchase of a dying company was, in reality, a masterstroke. See, Oracle wasn't buying hardware just to get into the hardware business. It was buying hardware to use as a weapon, a competitive weapon, for its software. This is the absolute key insight. The Sun acquisition was never about saving Sun. It was about scavenging it for its best parts. Oracle was buying the raw iron, the processors, the storage tech, all the good stuff, so it could forge something entirely new, completely integrated, right from the ground up. And when you boil it all down, this whole thing connects back to a vision Larry Ellison had for decades.
The dream was actually pretty simple, but it was so powerful. Make the world's best, most dominant database run faster on Oracle's own machines than on anyone else's, period. And with the Sun acquisition, that dream finally became a reality.
Which, leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. In a tech world that almost always preaches specialization, do one thing and do it well, Oracle went at the complete opposite direction. They bet everything on owning the whole stack. And that forces us to ask a really critical question, one that people are still debating today. Is controlling every single layer of your technology the ultimate competitive advantage?